Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we've got a building your army video. Now, in this series of videos, we're going to talk about particular models that people have asked us to look into. They want to build armies around them, and in this case, on one of our videos with the Getting Started With series, especially focusing around the free city of Settlers Gain out of Broken Realms Techless, we had a couple of people ask us, can we do this city with a Battlemage on Griffon? And the answer is, I think we've got a list for you. And so in this video, we're going to start off by talking about what exactly we get with the Battlemage on Griffon. We'll then look at the sub-faction and the faction we're taking it in, so that we can see what we're getting with this unit and how we can upgrade its base sort of war scroll. And then we'll look at units we can use to support this. And then lastly, we'll finish off with a little sample 2,000 point army list for you to have a look at to use your favourite model. If you'd like to have one of these videos made on a particular model or unit you really enjoy, let us know in the comments below, or definitely come contact us on Discord or Patreon, or indeed YouTube members in any way. We'll get back to you hopefully sooner rather than later. With that said, let's get cracking on and let's talk about the Battlemage on Griffon. So for starters, it is a Cities of Sigmar unit. It's a 1 cast and 1 unbind wizard. Nothing too fancy there. It can potentially get a +1 to cast if it's in the realm of Gur. That's really only apparent in narrative play, as we are currently playing Gurish Expanse. It's not classified as technically Gur, so I don't know whether we get it in the current system. Discuss that with your opponents, I guess. Now, this model has a wizard on top that gets 1 attack, Ren 1, damage D3, pretty standard wizard stuff. However, the Griffon does have a rather large amount, 10 attacks in total at Ren 1, and these are split between 6 at damage 2 and 3 at damage 3. 4 at damage 3. The movement and both the Griffon's attack profiles are what degrade upon this model. In the case of the Razor Claws, it's the number of attacks. At the Twin Beaks, it's the damage, which goes from 3 to 1 and then 6 to 2 attacks on the claws. The model can fly. It's a Griffon, of course it can fly. And then attacks with the Griffon's Twin Beak as well, so these are 3/3s, Ren 1, damage 3 at full profile, have the exploding 6s rule where only 6 to hit generates an extra hit, and having to make a wound roll for each hit. And then also, to top it off, this model has 2 spell options, so it has either Amber Spear, which is a direct damage spell, and it's also got Poisoned Wild Form, which is a spell that can give +2 to run and charge to a nearby unit, or indeed itself. So some pretty good utility there with the unit. We're definitely looking at the Griffon being the power horse, but I think there's ways we can definitely build this model up to be a lot more killy, and a little bit of a heat seeker missile. So with that said, let's go look at the sub-faction we picked for this model and talk about what we can take from that sub-faction and what we gain on this model. Alright, so we're going to pick the Settlers Gain sub-faction for our Battlemage on Griffon. Now, what exactly do we get in this? Well, first of all, you can find these rules for Settlers Gain inside Broken Realms Techless. It's also on the Warhammer Age of Sigmar app, currently for free. Now, you get +1 to cast for Collegiate Arcane Wizards inside Settlers Gain, so cool, we're just getting a flat +1 to cast, that's a good benefit. And then 1 extra Collegiate Arcane or Free Guild Hero can choose an extra artifact inside Settlers Gain. This is really cool because this means not only can we take an artifact for our Griffon, but maybe a support hero for our Griffon as well can have an artifact. And this is where it's really going to get cool. We'll talk about that in just a second. Now, for our Griffon, I've gone the command trait to give us Raging Outburst. Now, we get +1 to hit and wound on the rider. Now, it says all the melee, it says made with melee weapons by this general, but it doesn't specifically say the mount included, so that means by the rules of enhancements it is just the rider. So this means his magical staff is going to get +1 to hit and wound, which is really solid, meaning we're not going to need to use Finest Hour all that much. Finest Hour will be much more a defensive benefit. We can also use Finest Hour to negate the downside of this command trait, which is we get -1 to our save rolls in melee, so being able to go in, and if we're going to get in a protracted fight that we don't want to be in, Finest Hour time it is for sure. Getting that +1 to save, and also +2 to wound, meaning, you know, we ignore any minus wound bubbles, because we're generally not going to get more than -1 to wound against a lot of foes. This does mean we put our 1 attack now at 3s and 2s, Ren 1, damage D3, but where it comes into is I like putting the Blade of Leaping Bronze on this and gives the wizard an extra 2 attacks, so 3 attacks at 3s and 2s, Ren 1, damage D3 is about, you know, the same as a Free Guild General. Now, I also like putting Shield of Light as the spell on him, which is also from Settlers Gain, and this means he's going to have access to a 6-up ward save for himself or other units. Lastly, Soaring Guardian mount trait allows him to sort of revive when he dies, as if he were a phoenix. Not quite as good as the phoenix ones, but he can come back when he dies. And, you know, that's pretty nice. You can find the Soaring Guardian mount trait and indeed all the Cities of Sigmar updates inside White Dwarf. It was White Dwarf issue number 470, where all the Free Guild and Cities of Sigmar updates were released in. You got some battle tactics, grand strategies, and all of that available to you in there. But yeah, this makes him pretty solid, I think. You know, building that wizard on top, to build that wizard up to actually have a decent stat line, along with the actual Griffon itself having decent attacks and decent abilities on those attacks, this thing can be a pretty good little killing machine. And so, where do we go for support for our Settlers Gain Battlemage on Griffon? Well, first of all, we're wanting to look at Free Guild and more Collegiate Arcane units, as they're the ones that are going to gain lots of benefits inside of Settlers Gain. Probably also want to go and look at bringing in at least a Lumineth hero to do some cool things, and we can use some sort of more backline to keep stuff from running. But for the purpose of this, I recommend a Free Guild General on Griffon. He's going to be a great sort of leader to some other Free Guild units we can use to send up the table, and for me, I just think he's a really solid option. You could give him the wizard's ability, the artifact that's going to turn him into a wizard, where it could easily take flaming weapons. He's not going to get the bonus +1 to cast, but flaming weapons on his weapon is going to be pretty nice, or potentially on the Griffon as well. I think could definitely do some upped damage for him. Set those Griffon's talons or its beak on fire. I'm sure it appreciates it. But other than him, a Luminarch of Haish or a Battlemage from Haish with the Fast Protection spell, I think is a really solid option. The Luminarch particular has the ability to put out an aura of a 6-up ward, which is going to be great for holding home objectives, just giving us that little bit extra protection on what might be some otherwise lighter troops using as our objective grabbers for the Force. And then, of course, we're going to look at Free Guild Guard. Free Guild Guard, I think, are the perfect option for just some objective grabbers. They're cheap. They can have a 4-up save with sword and board, and then potentially a 6-up ward if we do indeed have the Luminarch in the army. They can be a really solid unit for just objective home holding, gathering battle tactics for being on objectives, like the banners held high, and all of that. You're wanting to make sure you get some banners inside your Cities of Sigmar army now, so you can have that battle tactic option. And then lastly, Demigryph Knights are the other unit. These work really well in tandem with our Free Guild General on Griffon. He's going to be able to provide lots of buffs to them. He can target multiple units with his own buff. So I think this is probably going to be the way we go. And like I said, you probably want to find at least one Lumineth hero inside here somewhere, just to sort of hold your backline with those Free Guild guards, make sure they don't run from battle shock. As he has a cool command ability where he can make all Free Guild units within 18 inch of him immune to battle shock. But now we'll go look at a list and we'll put all of this into practice. And so here we have our 2,000 point sample army list for you all to have a look at, focusing around getting that Battlemage on Griffon on the table. So as mentioned, we're going to be playing in Settlers Gain. We've got Haish as our all around, Grand Strategy gone Bastions of Hope. Because we do have a few units that are going to be moving up the table, we think we can get to enemies' terrain features, plus we've got enemy monsters that we can potentially be turning off terrain features with, so this can be really cool. This is also really good if your opponent is playing with like multiple terrain features and you can get on top of them, things like Skaven. If you can get 2 of them, you can pretty much guarantee getting a Grand Strategy if you get 2 of the Gnawholes. And your opponent has to put one generally around your deployment zone, or tries to. This stops them either doing that or giving you some free points at the end of the game. Triumph for Gone Inspired, +1 a wound can be really good on a lot of units inside of this. And so, our leaders, Battlemage on Griffon, leading the force as a general with the Raging Outburst and Blade of Leaping Bronze for the +2 attacks, +1 a hit and wound, though he's -1 armor save in combat. The idea is hit with this before it can get hit back, is pretty much the aim of the game. Mount trait Soaring Guardian gives him that rebirth ability, and then the Law of Illumination Shield of Light can hopefully give him a 6-up ward to hopefully stave off some of the damage. Luminarch of Haish will be sitting in our backline with the White Battlemage. Drain Magic is just a really good utility spell to have, being able to stop magical effects by getting -2 to casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls for wizards near it. And then a Free Guild General on Griffon with a Lance, Artifact the Arcane Tome, and Flaming Weapon, just for some good damage dealing potential alongside our Battlemage. And then we've got the Light of Eltharion in there. You could definitely pick a smaller hero and potentially put some more models and say your Free Guild Guard blocks if you want, is definitely an option. I went for Light of Eltharion just because he's going to be a really hard hero to remove alongside the Free Guild Guard, and he's also going to be a piece we can use offensively if need be. 10 free good guard times 3 fills out our battle line, all sword and shield. These are objective holders. They're pretty solid. If they're sticking near that Luminar, they've got a 6-up ward and a 4-up save. That's pretty decent for like 85 points. Really good value for them. And then 2 units of 6 Demigryph Knights. Now, the reason we're going 2 units of 6 is because that way they all fit within a battle regiment. However, if drops isn't something you're going to worry about, you could split these up into 3, though the Lancers and the Halberds are both 2-inch. It's just going to stop your Demigryphs getting in there. But the Lancers on the charge are really what's going to do the damage for the Demigryphs more than anything. And as soon as you lose 1 Demigryph, you're into normal formation anyway. As I just said though, we've got a battle regiment wrapping up one of our big heroes, Light of Lotharion, and all our smaller units. So this meaning we're a 3-drop army. We've got 122 wounds, which is pretty solid. It's a decently wound-heavy force. And then 2 out of our 4 reinforced units, obviously, are Demigryph units. This is a fun little army for Settlers Gain. It's going to get your Battlemage on Griffon on the table and get him actually doing stuff. Like we said at the start of the video, if there's a model or a unit you would like to get on the table that you really enjoy and you can't quite figure it out, let us know and we'll have a look and we'll see what we can come up with for you to get it on the table and get it to be the center focal point of your army. You can drop it in the comments below if there's something you want to see, or you will definitely get back to you if you jump on Patreon or YouTube members and recommend something, or you can jump in our Discord, and if you are a Patreon or YouTube members, we've got a channel there for them, or we've got our channel suggestions thing in Discord as well. Well, that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a comment below and let us know what you enjoyed about the video. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and turn those bell notifications on so you don't miss a beat when we upload new stuff to the channel. Lastly, if you'd like to help support the channel in another way, you can do so either by helping support the channel on Patreon or YouTube members. This allows us to continue to make new content for the channel, exploring other game systems outside of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, like we have started to with things like Elder Scrolls: A Call to Arms and Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings and Warhammer 40,000. And it helps us just continue to make more Age of Sigmar content as well. Thank you to, though, everyone who has helped support, and we'd like to give them all a shout out to our patrons. First of all, Christian Weir, James Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lowe, Outer and Shop First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Cure Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nilsson, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, and Samuel. And to our YouTube members as well, Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Vinny Locklorick, The Journey 84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Sean Scott, and Diplomat. And a special thank you, of course, to, first of all, Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel you see here, and to Xmorphic, who does all the awesome background work on our Discord server, keeping that nice and running properly for us all. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Once again, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against Grey. Ciao for now.